Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you are having a great start to your weekend, a great Saturday morning so far. In this video, we are going to break down the weather throughout your Labor Day weekend, and we're also going to take a look at the tropics. Some interesting developments showed up overnight on one pretty reliable model, which is the GFS, talking about the potential for tropical development here in about a week in the Gulf of Mexico. The next name in the hurricane list is Mindy. So we're going to talk about the chances of Mindy developing in the Gulf of Mexico and potentially being a threatening scenario. Potentially. Nothing is potentially threatening the U.S. right now. We're also going to give a breakdown of what's going on with what is now Major Hurricane Larry, as it's still churning away and looking very healthy out there in the tropical Atlantic right now, as it's going to slowly start to drift more northwest and then north over the next couple of days and get very close to Bermuda and even close to areas like Newfoundland and areas of far northeast Canada. So we're going to break that down for you guys. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. I try to upload content daily. I'm also a storm chaser, so I try to be in every big major event in the eastern U.S. as I can. Now, granted, I'm never going to be in every single one, but I'm going to try to be in the real major ones for you guys and get storm footage. So thank you all for the amazing support. Even when there's nothing threatening right now, y'all continue to watch my videos, and that's where I can really see the growth. I'm just a guy who's very passionate about the weather, and y'all allow me to live out my dream through social media. So my appreciation is always the utmost highest for you guys. So thank y'all for the amazing support. Anything I can pray about, put it in the comments. I'll definitely give you all a prayer. It gives other opportunities to pray for people to pray for y'all too. Prayer is powerful. I saw that firsthand when I was in chasing Hurricane Ida, and I got in one kind of dangerous situation where I tried to relocate in the middle of the eye wall, and it got pretty dicey. So, I know you guys were looking out for me and family members too. So thank y'all for the amazing support. I'll stop talking and let's get going here. So what we're going to first talk about is your Labor Day weekend forecast. This is pretty cut and dry, honestly. Literally dry. These are dew points, so don't look at this and see temperatures. Obviously, if you're in the Carolinas, Virginia, really the entire eastern U.S., except areas of Florida where you just, it's very hard to get any kind of penetration as far as cold fronts this time of the year. But if you're anywhere from Mississippi to the Carolinas, all the way up the eastern seaboard, chances are you're walking outside and it just feels phenomenal. Low humidity, temperatures are in the 50s to 60s, and it feels great out there. It just feels like college football, which, by the way, this is why I'm making the morning video, because I probably won't have a weather update this evening, because I'll be doing just activities. I'll be at the game. I'm a big Gamecock fan, so Gamecocks are playing Eastern Illinois, so I'll be at that game this evening. Anyway, so let's get going here. So beautiful day across the eastern U.S. today. You got dry weather, the low humidity, which these are dew points, will stick around. Relatively low humidity into the Carolinas, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, and just a nice early fall day. Keep in mind, when you get fall fronts in early September, they're normally what you call false falls, especially in the southeast and the south. Meaning that it normally heats right back up. So you'll notice as you get into late Sunday, the humidity will begin to increase. Dew points will start to climb back in the 60s, but I don't think, even in the Labor Day, humidity will begin to increase, especially if you're in areas in the western ends of the deep south, like Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi, even Tennessee. You'll notice by Labor Day, the humidity begins to increase. Now, as far as temperatures, even when you have low humidity, fall fronts early this time of the year are still, they're not going to knock your high temperatures, especially in the southeast, down into the 70s and 60s. You start to see that more so in October and November. But if you're up in the northeast, it's a different story. 60s and 70s for highs, especially in the interior northeast. Beautiful day across the northeast. Mid-Atlantic, probably more so in the 80s and 70s. Southeast in the 80s. But the good thing is, even though it's in the 80s to close to 90, low humidity, so it's not going to feel brutal out there. You're not going to probably sweat your butt off unless you're doing some heavy activities or something. It's not going to be that bad. So across the Ohio Valley, beautiful fall-like day. You get into tonight, that's still another cool night across even the southeast, mid-Atlantic. Temperatures will still dip down to the 60s and even upper 50s in some location, but not as cool and crisp as overnight last night and night before, as it looks like the trough and high pressure begins to pivot off the east coast, and the influence of cooler and drier air goes away. Now you notice these really cool temperatures right here in the mid-Atlantic. There's going to be a little bit of rain that starts to arrive late tonight into tomorrow, but it's not going to be some crazy severe weather outbreak. It's just some showers, and it's almost going to be enhance that fall-like effect with cloudy conditions and just some showery weather. So nothing too crazy, but areas where there's not any showers and storms, it's going to get pretty warm, especially areas in Louisiana, Arkansas, where it's going to soar into the 90s tomorrow. Across the Carolinas, sharp cutoff in temperatures. Will there be cloud cover and showers in Virginia? But if you're in, like, Mississippi to South Carolina, North Carolina, temperatures will get close to 90 again tomorrow. But then again, the humidity still won't be that bad, but it will begin to increase as we get into our Labor Day. Another decent, coolish morning across the eastern U.S., but you'll notice it's not near as crisp as you're waking up Labor Day morning. But temperatures will really begin to climb as you get into Labor Day. So any swimming activities along the beach, it'll be hot as Hades again in the Carolinas, Georgia, the deep south. Mid-Atlantic will still be pretty warm, but it's still going to be pretty comfortable in the northern Mid-Atlantic to northeast. So as far as those showers, you'll see them coming into play late tonight across Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and then they move into the Mid-Atlantic. So West Virginia, you might be dealing with a little bit of shower activity Sunday into Monday, but nothing too crazy really. As far as the tropics, this is Hurricane Larry. It is a 115 mile per hour storm per the latest 5 a.m. update. It is looking very healthy. It just completed what you call an eye wall replacement cycle, so which means that the eye wall breaks down, and basically the outer eye wall becomes the inner eye wall, and it kind of becomes a more centralized and healthy looking eye. When you have a healthy looking eye, you have a strong hurricane. So Larry is looking very good right now. It's actually starting to have that annular look. So it has a unique looking hurricane. You don't usually see annular type hurricanes in the tropical Atlantic, but it looks like it's because it's over a little bit lower sea surface temperatures, and normally that's when you get those kind of hurricanes. But healthy outflow. The upper level winds are very, very supportive of continued steady intensification, and will continue to intensify, and probably into a Category 4 hurricane at its strongest. But you notice these nice outflows, and it's just a great looking hurricane. Luckily, right now, it's not bothering anybody. Now, you're going to be looking at two different things in this. You're going to be looking at Larry, and then be looking in this area right here, and that's really all we're going to focus on. Larry will continue to march as we get into midweek to late week. If you look right here, right where my cursor is, this is where Bermuda is. It gets awfully close to Bermuda, but I really think the worst Bermuda is going to get right now is some outer bands and some big-time swells, as in big-time surf. At the same time, when Larry is making its closest approach to the eastern seaboard, you have some tropical development mid to late next week off the GFS. This has become very interesting, and we'll get a closer look at this too here in a second. But now it has a low-end hurricane developing as early as Friday morning, kind of cruising along the Gulf Coast from west to east, and it's being influenced by a trough that's probably digging down right here that's been showing up for several days now, and it's pushing it east, and eventually it rides that trough and kind of dissipates and gets sheared out. And then there's another system that we're not really going to talk about because it's 9 to 10 days out. It pops up in the Gulf of Mexico and wants to hit Louisiana and Texas, unfortunately, as a hurricane. But you notice this system. The energy of it gets through the southeast, Georgia and the Carolinas, and then it redevelops again into a hurricane and moves on out. But it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Now you look at the European, shows Larry. Here comes Larry. And by the way, Larry gets very, very close to Bermuda. But the good thing about the northeast areas of Canada, like Newfoundland and areas right in here, it really doesn't look like you are going to get heavily impacted, but you got to watch Newfoundland, especially the eastern areas of the island right here. Y'all could still get hit. This could be a nasty storm around this time next week. So about next weekend, you got to watch it. Even the slightest ticks west and Newfoundland can really get hit hard by Larry. So we have to watch this. But areas right in here, I don't think you have to worry. The northeast and mid-Atlantic, you don't have to worry about this except some nasty swells. Now, as far as what could be Mindy, This is what the European, the operational European is showing. Shows Mindy kind of drifting into Texas. It's just some tropical moisture. So it doesn't really develop it, so the European leaves it alone. So this could be another win for the GFS. Look a little bit closer to what could be Mindy, a tropical system. And this thing in the Gulf, check it out. It kind of begins to develop here. At the same time, you have a trough or a cold front digging right down here. This is able to stay over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico and develops it into briefly a sub 990 millibar low storm, which would be supportive of a Category 1 hurricane. And it makes landfall kind of really close to where Fred did a couple weeks ago. So we have to watch this scenario. It pulls the tropical moisture into Georgia and the Carolinas, and then it redevelops it off the coast of the Carolinas. So this is a system we have to watch for sure, because it's in the relatively short term, and we have to, we're gonna be into next week here in a couple days. So this is looking like something we really need to start watching early to midweek, and then potential impacts late weekend into next weekend, late week into next weekend. So gotta watch this one. One thing here is you look at the Gfs Ensembles. Last night when I made a video, there really wasn't much support, and there still really isn't. You see some bigger storms. You got a sub 1,000 millibar storm, even some sub 990 millibar storms. But the thing is they're really spread apart. Some stretch from all the way to Florida to Texas. So figuring out where this is going to hit is a big question. At the same time, you got that trough digging down, so this might sneak on this side of the trough instead of this side of the trough. Now, you look at the environmental factors in place for any kind of development. One thing this is going to be battling is some heavy shear and some definite dry air. And here comes that tropical moisture right here from the Gulf of Mexico as we get into middle part of next week. But look at all this dry air, and this is basically high pressure moving in behind a cold front. And the brown you see is that dry air starting to really affect the northern end of the storm. And then eventually it starts to wrap into the circulation of the storm like any dry air nearby would do. And by then it's making landfall and interacting with land anyways. But you can't trust tropical systems in the Gulf of Mexico. I'll say that every time we're talking about the potential for tropical development in the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico this time of the year is like bathwater. It's very warm and very supportive, and will fight off the harsh environmental factors that are in place to lack the development, if you will. So it will battle and battle and battle in the Gulf of Mexico because it has a lot of fuel to keep going here. So we have to watch late week potentially for an impactful tropical system. Will it be just some Gulf moisture along the Gulf Coast, or could it be a low-end hurricane? We just don't know yet. So this could potentially be Mindy. But that's all I got, guys. I hope you all have an awesome weekend. It's a great weather weekend, so enjoy the break from all the chaos that what seems like has been going over the last week or two. So thank you all for the amazing support. Y'all have a blessed and awesome Saturday.